everybody. This is Liz with AI Future State. This morning we have the pleasure of speaking with Artin Safarian. He is the CEO of Arminco Incorporated. And we want to just thank you, Artin, for being with us today.
Thank you for having me.
So we're going to dig in just a little bit about your story, how your company started, and where you are presently. So we had talked, you said your dad had founded the company as an HVAC company, and you built it from there.
That is correct. Back in 96, my father, we moved to Virginia and he founded this company as an HVAC company. And then in 2004, I started developing interest in building, doing construction and stuff. So I kind of switched and his HVAC company took on another entity technically. So I kept the name, the foundation of everything that we had set up. And then him and my brother took away another entity for the air conditioning portion of what we do.
So it sounds like you had the base of the company there, the framework was there, and then you took your entrepreneurial skills and built from there.
Sure. Yeah, you can say that. Yeah.
So tell us about what Arminco does today.
So today we are multiple companies into one. We are a healthcare development company. So we do everything healthcare. We do design and architectural for any startup healthcare specialty in dentistry, surgery centers, optometry, veterinary clinics, dermatology clinics, any healthcare related. And we also provide dental equipment. We do construction, so we can build it out. And most importantly, we offer project management on a national scale, state. So anyone that's building, anyone that's starting a practice in regards to practice ownership and stuff, we would get in there and we would make sure their journey is as easy as possible to get to that starting point. And we are also affiliated. We own the real estate company called Alexandrian Partners, where we use to locate spaces for our doctors, our practitioners that are looking.
And what point did you realize that this was becoming bigger than just a typical construction company?
I stumbled into this back in 2006 in the healthcare industry, per se. And the more I got into it, the more I realized it is becoming bigger. It's a niche. Not everyone can do it. Not everyone does it right.
Yeah.
Lord knows how much disagreements I had, going through the way the industry was operating and the way I was thinking it should operate and stuff. So the more we did, the more it was inevitable that, if you are handling the whole picture and managing the entire picture, it goes a lot smoother than piecing it out to different companies and so on and so forth.
Absolutely. It sounds like it's one-stop shopping for any sort of practice that you're working with. They can focus on bringing in their clients and developing the business while you manage everything else.
Yeah, today with the way we're set up, you can go one-stop shop if that's what you want as a doctor.
Yeah.
Or you can use us in different sectors. If you only want construction, we can provide you construction. You only want design architecture, we can provide you that as well. But obviously it helps you if we handle the entire piece.
Yeah, and finding the location. Location is so important for these practices.
Yeah, I mean, we do a lot of budget control. Budget is the most thing because everything is becoming very expensive. Every doctor that's coming out, they already have their own student loans that they have to go through, right? And now they have to get another loan just to build their practice. So budget is an important factor. And because of budget, what most people don't know is it starts before you find the place. Once you find the place, the place dictates how much you're going to spend on construction and things like that. So we get involved. The earlier we get involved, the better we're able to handle your budget to be around what you want to spend or what you can afford to spend to get to where you want to be.
Great. Yeah. And it sounds like from the get-go, your company started as one model and now it's grown to another. Was it always envisioned as the integrated company it is today, or it sounds like it happened sort of organically?
Yeah, I think it was envisioned in some areas, but not in most areas. For example, we started in construction. We knew we were going to do architectural and design at some point. So that part of it, I knew we were going to bring it in. But the minute we started doing healthcare, specifically dental, when we started doing dental, we realized, look, we have to do the design and the architecture because there's so many missing pieces when we're not doing that. And there's so many people trying to dictate and handle and things get misdropped. And then who takes the blame is the contractor. right? So we're like, okay, we got to do the drawings to make sure, things are being handled properly. So we knew that piece was coming sooner than any other piece. But the more we did, the more it was inevitable. We had to start, because a good 70% of our clients were in the dental. It was oral surgery, dentistry, orthodontics, pediatrics, right? So, the manufacturers that we were dealing with started trusting us. They knew our reputation. They knew my reputation. So it wasn't, long until we started selling dental equipment. So we are a full dental equipment dealer today. And that kind of streamlines the process and, puts the doctor at peace knowing what they buy is what's going to be built and what's going to be designed around. Nothing will get dropped in between.
And it sounds like that was one of the early decisions you made, and it kind of helped to shape the direction the company was going in.
Yes, absolutely. I mean, that was crucial to where we are today.
Yeah. It's a really holistic approach, I think, and super important.
Yeah, we can, just by doing that, we provide a lot of cost savings to the doctor, right? One is, look, if you piece everything out, every company makes a certain amount of profit.
Yeah.
Just by eliminating that, we don't make that same profit in every single category. In fact, it's the other way around. Our profits are lower because there's no mistakes that we have to cover or anything like that, right?
Yeah.
So we don't make X on construction, I in architectural. No, we squeeze that in and we make the profit that we need to make just to make sure we're operational.
Yes.
Other areas where there's savings, there's less mistakes, there's less miscommunication because you're dealing with one team.
Yes.
So none of that change orders, any additional costs, nothing like that comes to you as the end user because we're handling it. So it goes a lot smoother, faster, and much cleaner that way.
So for the viewers, you handle dental offices, veterinary offices, and can you tell us what other offices you'll...
Sure. Our main we do anything healthcare, but
Okay.
our specialties are dental, surgery practices, because surgery practices right now with the Quad A, AAA certification, Category 1, those are very, very crucial that not everybody knows, understands, and does. We do those specifically. We do optometry, ophthalmology practices, veterinary practices. Those four, we have a full concentration and specialty in. Other healthcare medical, we've done a lot of urgent care centers. We've done a lot of dermatology practices. We have one now. We're doing rheumatology that's out there. We've done a lot of wellness centers. A lot of chiropractors now with the wellness centers. They're kind of connecting and doing physical therapy. So that we're doing a lot of that. Hospitals, mini hospitals, surgical centers,
Okay.
things like that is we do a lot of.
Okay, so that's important to know. And you are located in DC, but I know you can work with people around the country and even into Canada.
Absolutely. Well, our project management, design, architectural services, we are nationwide. We've done a couple of projects in Canada as well and can do those areas. So yes, we are. Our physical construction is in the DC metropolitan area, maybe 150-mile radius. We've done physical construction in Richmond, Virginia Beach. So depending on the area, we can see if we can do the construction itself. If not, full management on a national level. Right now, we have projects in Florida, Ohio, North Carolina, New York. We have 2 in California, Colorado. So we're pretty much everywhere in the nation from that perspective.
Okay. People assume, and I think we're going through this, that firms like yours are just doing consulting. But start to finish, it's a lot more than that.
Yeah, the word consultant. I don't connect with consultants. I consultants are a little bit different than what we do. What we do is full comprehensive project management. The difference is we do the work and we are held accountable. We want to be responsible. You can come and blame us if something goes wrong. A consultant gives you advice and they charge you to give you a referral. A consultant will say, here's 3 contractors. Go find out who you want to hire. By the way, we recommend if you hire this guy, right? Yeah. We don't work that way. I don't care what contractor comes in as long as they're experts. We do an entire investigation background check on them to know if they can physically do the job. Are they capable of doing the job? So if you're using us for our healthcare industry knowledge, and that opens your doors for any contractor. See, a consultant will tell you go hire it. If you're a dentist, for example, they'll say hire a contractor that does dental work. We wouldn't say that. We would say hire a contractor that's capable of doing the project, and then we manage that contractor to make sure the dental work is done properly.
It sounds,
So we're on top of them. We're the ones that would find them, we'll screen them, and we'll recommend them. Now, you as the end user, you can say, no, no, I don't like this company. I like this company. No problem. We'll have a conversation and we'll hire that company to manage.
sounds like it makes it just so much easier, really.
Well, it makes your work easier because we're doing the leg. With a consultant, you're doing the legwork and you're listening to someone that's not going to be held accountable for at the end of the day. So, but us, we're doing the legwork. You're making decisions based on what information we provide, and then you're holding us accountable because at the end of the day, we're the ones that's going to manage it and make sure they're within the budget, within the timeline, and then we deliver their space the way it needs to be delivered for you.
Yeah. And it sounds like people, your clients, really benefit from having one single partner from
Yeah,
to finish.
absolutely. When I first started doing this, that was the first thing. I'm a relationship type of person, so I keep a relationship with our clients, especially the first people that we start working with. So I've consistently seen their offices, their practices grow, and I've consistently talked to them. In the beginning stages, once we were going through this, the first thing everyone said was, look, the journey is great. You guys have done a great job. Everything was good. The team we used was great. However, we feel like there's no one out there that, kind of brings everyone together, right? So
Yeah.
they're technically still managing it.
Yeah.
That's when it hit me. I'm like, look, these guys are doctors. They want to do their clinical work. They don't have time to come in here, manage the contractor, the architect, the equipment dealer, the IT person, the attorney, the CPA. They want all that stuff to kind of happen, and so they can come in there and run the clinical stuff. In
Yeah.
fact, in dentistry per se, a lot of people think about buying a practice so they don't have to go through that,
Yes.
right?
Yes.
So they're just in the practice working and then making money. So that's when we brought in our project management services to do just that. And that's what kind of differentiates us from any consultant out there, because as a consultant, you still need to be available to do the work,
Hmm.
right? Even if you're using a consultant. But with us, we're doing the work. So you're out there doing your, practicing, doing your practice, your clinical stuff. And we bring our expertise to making your project run as smooth as possible.
So, and it sounds like your clients potentially have tried to work with a consultant that sort of dips in and out, and then they understand there's so much complexity in the process. And what do you think that most of your clients misunderstand about that complexity when they start to try to open their own practice and start a new location?
So a lot of people, I think, depending on which, I guess, industry we're talking about, what kind of healthcare we're talking about. For example, if a larger surgery center is opening up, they fully understand what comprehensive project management is. So if a hospital is opening, they hire a project manager. So they know what they're getting, what the difference is between a project manager and a consultant. But like if we're looking at, let's say, dentists, right? In the industry, project management has never existed, or they've never thought about it, or not existed, but so much talked about. So people don't talk about it, right? And there's a reason for that, because in the old days, if you go back 20, 30 years, equipment dealers used to manage projects. So they never brought an exterior project manager to manage the project. So dentists are not so much aware that
Right.
there are project managers. So they don't even know what that means. So, but what's out there for their industry, and it's being talked about a lot, is consultants, right? And the consultants pretty much offer a little bit of consultation expertise when it comes to running a practice. But most of them, when I talk to, have no idea about opening a practice. They don't understand costs. They don't know costs. They're not in it. They
Yeah.
can't. They can't know it all.
Yeah. Yeah. It sounds like you help with every piece of the puzzle. And would you say that would be what makes you different from the other companies?
Well, absolutely. Look, if it takes, look, this is how I look at it. If you open a practice and you're spending 900,000, and if I can open your practice the same way it is at 800,000, you would want that 100,000 savings, put it into your marketing, pump more blood in it, and make sure you're more successful, right?
And would you say
So
that's about it? Could you give me an average savings that your clients get? Is there a way to gauge that?
depending on, yeah, I mean, we've tried. Look. I will tell you, like as a part of project management, the minimum hours we put in, the minute hours you would have to put in if you were opening a practice of about 2,500 square foot is going to be around, we put in 300 hours at minimum. So if someone that's never done this, you're going to put in 500 hours, try to figure things out, right? And that's 500 hours and you're working, right? How much we save, I would say probably a good 15%, and that depends on the size of the practice. I have had savings not too long ago where we were able to calculate it because of what the routes he was telling us he was going to go, and he didn't end up going. Ends up being 120,000 he saved, but it's going to be a little bit different from everyone. It's hard to pinpoint that out because you have to know how someone was going to do it before we
Right.
came to mind, right? I can tell you the mistakes. I can tell you like things we did that didn't cost that much, but ultimately the journey itself, there's so many decisions that happen.
Yeah.
It's hard to control.
Yeah. So on average, 15% is a big savings, and you're
Oh, yeah,
getting
absolutely.
your professional expertise and the whole team. It sounds like aside from the 15% cost savings, the time saved is incredible as well. And just your expertise that these people, they're flying blind if they don't have that.
And that's what I was going to say. Just the time. Look, calculate, if you're a doctor, calculate the time, right? Let's
Yeah.
assume you're an expert. You know everything you're doing. You're going to put in 300 hours. We put in 300 hours. You will put in 300 hours. Take 300 hours and calculate your time in 300
I
hours.
mean, I can't imagine and I think like you can't put a price on the level of frustration that these people are saving themselves.
Yeah.
So they're saving time, they're saving energy, they're saving their, nerves.
Good. When you bring up nerves, I can't imagine. I mean, like I would tell you, a good 25%, 30% of the time, we're like almost like therapists when we're talking to doctors.
Yeah.
They're panicking. We're like, listen, why don't you go on a vacation? We got this handled. We know how it is. This is normal. Don't worry about it. Because there's a lot. You're right. There's a lot of emotions in it. Right.
Absolutely. They're putting their heart and soul into it, and it just sounds like I just sense that your clients feel an enormous sense of relief.
Rightfully so. Look, you got money. You've borrowed money from one end. Some of them are going through having families. Like we're doing doctors right now, where they're having babies
Yeah.
in the process. It kind of everything coming together. The emotions are very high. It,
Yeah.
it can get it can get pretty up.
Yeah. So on average, the gist of the podcast is all about entrepreneurship, how successful people run their companies. Something I wanted to touch on is AI because that is what everybody is buzzing about these days. Are you currently using it in your business, or are you finding your clients are using it? What's your opinion on AI in your industry right now?
Well, I mean, AI. I think everybody's using AI. You know, some portion. Our
Mhm.
clients are definitely using it. Our most doctors in different industries are definitely using AI. We use AIs when it comes to like permitting, drawings, and things like that. I want to see if in construction we're using AI. I haven't seen us use AI yet in construction, but there are talks and what it can end up doing. But for models, printing, permits, drawings, design, all that stuff, yes, AI is being used and it's increasing on a weekly basis,
Yeah,
the
that's what
usage
yeah,
of it. Yeah. So
that was the next question. Like in 2026, do you see your company using AI for more ways to streamline and save time in your own business?
I think it's inevitable. I think AI, every company is going to end up using some sort of AI and
From
it's
their
going to
industry.
grow as it.
Right, absolutely. So do you use it for like the consulting piece of it, the architecture and things like that, as far as inside your own company, like for invoices, billing, things like that? Are you finding it's helpful there?
For sure, and within our company, when everything you mentioned, as far as invoicing, as far as price comparing, because as project managers, we have to compare and give the best prices to our clients. So material price comparing, understanding what's out there, all that stuff right now, we're pretty much fully AI integrated. We look at it, location finding, all that stuff. We do an analysis. We have a lot of clients that, want their existing practices and their leases are, for example, expiring. They want to know if they should stay or find another location. We use AI in that just to see what would be better. Lots of cost comparison. We have a client that wants to right now buy a lot and build it up. So AI has been used in that to calculate costs and what she would go through, and if she was to rent part of it, all that stuff. Yes, all that stuff. Right now, internally, we're definitely using it.
That's great. And yeah, I feel like spreadsheeting and all the different kind of cost comparisons that people used to run on Excel and have to do manually, AI is helping so much to save time in that
For
respect.
sure, for
Yeah.
sure.
So just before we start to wrap up, what sort of words of wisdom do you have for anybody watching who's a young entrepreneur, somebody that's working on founding their own company, or somebody that's looking towards the C-suite? They're, working for somebody else, but they're ready to make the leap and trying to move up the ladder. You're obviously a very successful company owner. What words of advice do you have for these people?
I think the best thing I can tell people is have confidence in yourself. I see a lot of, especially in my industry, like as healthcare providers, people in the healthcare, when they want to start or get a startup going, their main concern is, what if it doesn't work? Right? I say this, look, if you're a great practitioner, and you go in a okay location, you will make it work. Now, if you go in a great location, you'll definitely have not to worry about, right? Have confidence and always have a plan. Follow that plan, right? A lot of people come up with a plan, and look, I'm guilty of that too, right? And sometimes you tend to deviate from it because you don't have the patience to waiting for that plan to go through. And then I sit back, I'm like, wait a minute, we knew this was going to happen, right? So why are we rushing? Let's let it pan out. We already planned it out. We knew this happens. Give it a couple of more months, and then we'll revisit the situation and see why, because we already had it planned out. So if you have confidence and you have a vision and you plan that out, the rest is just give yourself time and stay true to what you're doing. Don't change your mind just because something is, throwing a curveball at you.
And how do you, everybody has setbacks. How do you personally navigate those setbacks? Because I'm sure you've encountered them in your career. What's your mind frame for just saying, okay, we've had a setback, now what?
We got to step back and kind of think about it. And, I always say, sometimes people tell me, listen, you always ask questions, but you never follow anyone's advice. I'm like, how do you know that? I ask a lot of questions. I follow someone's advice, right? It might not be yours, but I think when something happens, I have a tendency to, to kind of go through it, evaluate it myself. I ask a lot of questions. I listen to what people have to say, but then I have my own time. I have to sit back, relax, and kind of look at it from a non-frustration point of view
Yeah,
and understand where I'm going. And most of the times, like I said, most of the time it's me making myself realize that we knew our setback could potentially happen.
yeah.
So when we had a plan, so why are we panicking? Let's keep going the way we thought we were going to go. Most of the time, it's that.
So
Very few times you would have to kind of like adjust it a little bit.
so setbacks where you never felt like a complete curveball came in out of left field, like you kind of knew in your journey, like, okay, this could happen, that could happen.
I think part of that is because we're also project management. As part of project management, you have to kind of see the future. So when I start a project, right? If I start a project, I can pretty much pinpoint down 95% of the problems that are going to come up.
Yeah,
Well, if they come up, we already knew it was coming up, right?
yeah,
So because of that, same way I ran my business. When I started my business and we have like a goal of the next, let's say 5 years, our goals, we know potential problems that are going to come up. And then we just have to navigate through it once they come up. Now, there are times where we're not 100%, there, but occasionally you'll have a curveball that you were like, wow,
yeah,
you know, I didn't think it was going to be this severe, but, and then you kind of manage through that.
yeah. Well, it sounds like rather you, with all your experience, deal with that than if I were a doctor. I'd rather have somebody that's been through it 1,000 times navigate the way than me trying to do it myself, whether I'm a chiropractor, vet, dentist. It sounds like people are in good hands with you. So let me ask you, just if we have some viewers that stumble upon this chat, where can they find you, your website, your information, so in case they'd like to reach out?
Sure. Our website, www.armincoinc.com, is our company's website. We also have an educational platform, www.howtoopenadentalpractice.com.
Okay.
We have one for optometry, how to open an optometrypractice.com, and we have one for vets, how to open a veterinary practice.com.
Wow.
Those are educational websites that are out there that we put information on, articles, how to do things. There are other people that speak, sort of things like that. That's one way. Our company number is also 703-430-6669. So
Okay.
feel free to call us at any time
And I'll put
for
it,
any
I'll,
reason.
I'll put all that information in
Sure.
the podcast as well. So it's been a pleasure talking to you. I've never talked to anybody in this niche before, so I feel like I've learned a lot today.
Thank you. Thanks
And
for having me on your podcast.
it's a pleasure.
Likewise.